All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a piece of tech that's, well, it's kind of reading our minds, or at least it's reading our words. I'm talking about sentiment analysis. It's this incredibly powerful AI that's shaping our digital world in ways you probably don't even see. So, think about it for a second. Every single time you drop a review on a product, or leave a comment on a post, or just fire off a quick tweet, have you ever stopped to wonder where that opinion actually goes? I mean, is anyone really listening? Well, the answer is a huge yes, but probably not in the way you think. It's not a person reading it. Right now, as we speak, millions upon millions of those opinions are being crunched and categorized by AI. It's this massive, totally invisible world of data analysis, and it's happening all the time, every single second. Right. So we're basically swimming in this giant ocean of digital text, right? And you've got companies, brands, all sorts of organizations just desperate to figure out what all that chatter means. They're trying to find that one important signal in all of the noise. The big question is, how on earth do they do it? And that is exactly where this incredible technology comes into play. The solution really is to teach machines how to read, but not just for words, for feelings. So let's get right to it. What exactly is sentiment analysis? Okay, so at its heart, it's a technique that falls under something called natural language processing, or NLP for short. And all NLP really means is it's a way for computers to get a handle on human language, the way we actually talk and write. The whole goal here is to automatically figure out the emotion, the vibe behind a piece of text. Is this person happy? Are they angry? Or are they just, neutral? Sometimes it's even called opinion mining, which honestly is a perfect name for it. So just look at these two super simple examples, right? For us, for any human, this is a piece of cake. We see happy, we know it's positive. We see didn't like, and boom, it's negative. No problem. The whole trick is getting the AI to learn how to do that exact same thing, but automatically, at a massive scale. So how in the world does it actually learn? Okay, so we've got the what down. Now let's really dig into the how. How does a chunk of code actually learn to tell the difference between someone loving a product and someone, well, complaining about it? Well, the whole process usually kicks off with something called supervised machine learning. And the best way to think about this is like teaching a little kid with flashcards. Seriously. You show the machine tons and tons of examples, we're talking thousands, sometimes millions of tweets and reviews that real humans have already labeled as either positive or negative. The machine just pores over all these examples, looking for patterns. And here's where the magic happens. The machine takes a guess. It makes a prediction. Then it checks its answer against the correct label that a human provided. If it gets it wrong, it measures how wrong it was. That's what we call the error. Then it adjusts its own internal logic and tries again. And it does this over and over and over again, millions of times. The entire goal is just to shrink that error down to almost nothing, so its predictions become just as good as ours. So how does it actually make that final call? Well, a lot of the time, it uses a statistical model that's just perfect for a yes or no question, or in our case, a positive or negative one. What's cool is that it doesn't just spit out a simple answer. It actually calculates a probability score. So instead of just saying, yep, that's positive, the model's going to say something more like, okay, I'm 92% sure that this review is positive. All right, so that's the theory. A little abstract, I know. So let's make it way more concrete. We're going to follow a single tweet on its journey from the second it's posted to the moment an AI slaps a sentiment score on it. It really boils down to four main steps. First up, you've got to prepare the data. That means cleaning up all the messy stuff like typos and slang and getting those human labels ready to go. Second, you extract what are called features. This is a super important step where you turn words into numbers that a computer can actually understand. Third, you train the model. This is where you let the algorithm loose on the data to learn all the patterns. And then finally, the fun part. You use that trained-up model to make predictions on brand new text it's never seen before. So why should you care about any of this? What's the big deal? Well, this isn't just some neat computer science project. This technology is literally all around us, shaping our digital lives every single day. Just think about it. Companies can now instantly know what thousands of customers think from their reviews. They can watch their brand's reputation on social media in real time, like minute by minute. This is the tech that powers those product recommendations you always see. It's used to find market influencers, and some companies even use it to get a read on employee morale. the applications are huge, and they're driving business decisions all over the place. But it's not a silver bullet. Of course it's not perfect. We've got to talk about the limits here. Because let's be real, understanding human language is one of the absolute hardest things you can ask a computer to do. And this really gets right to the core of the problem. What happens with sarcasm? When you say, "Oh, great, another meeting." The word great is positive, but the feeling behind it is, well, it's the total opposite. So how is an AI supposed to figure that out? Yeah, this is where it gets super tricky for an AI. How does it possibly detect irony or sarcasm? How does it know that slang that's totally fine in one community might be offensive in another? And what about just plain old cultural context? Or, the fact that sometimes even two people can look at the same sentence and completely disagree on what it means. And that really sums up the whole challenge, doesn't it? At the end of the day, sentiment is just subjective. Human emotion isn't a simple on-off switch for positive or negative. It's all tangled up in our culture, our personal history, and that makes it an unbelievably difficult target for any algorithm to get right 100% of the time. Which brings us to one last really big question we should all be thinking about. Look, this technology is only going to get better. It's going to get more powerful, more accurate. So as these machines get better and better at understanding not just our words, but our actual feelings, who benefits the most from all that insight? That's definitely something to chew on.